Extraordinary. That's all I have to say about you and this movie, and it just moved me to no end. I wanted to get up and protest the minute it was over, honestly. You've done such a spectacular job. And
thank you.
I know that this is like 7 years in the making for you, but the most daunting role you've ever had to play?
Yes, I think that's fair to say. But also the most wonderful role I've ever had the opportunity to play. You know, in this role is everything I am as a man, you know, who he was in terms of sacrificial love, what he had by way of his faith, what he did in terms of not just being a talker of the word, but a doer of the word. These are all things I really admire and aspire to do, but also as an actor, to get to step into his shoes briefly. That's who I am professionally, and who I am in life is what, you know, or who I try to be in life is what he was. So, you know, it's just such a blessed situation for me.
What did you learn about Dr. King that maybe you didn't know or surprised you about him?
I think what I not only found out, but what I felt physically in my body is the weight of expectation, the weight of guilt that he felt, because people were killed during the course of this campaign. And they were killed because the methodology employed was, we're going to go into this place where there's clear injustice, we're going to have the cameras roll, and we're going to make these people act out on camera. And they did, and people died. And you could argue that they may not have died if it wasn't at the behest of this campaign. Now, several lives, I think, were saved because the Voting Rights Act was passed, and you no longer had white racists not going to jail for having killed people because juries were letting them off. So I'm sure he knew that, but it was still a tough burden to bear.
But yeah, so yeah, a tough burden. But and another thing too is that people always saw him as amazing leader. I'm not taking anything away from him, a spectacular man. But boy, did he have a good team around him.
Yes.
And that, you look at the ensemble of this film, also a bunch of amazing actors, everybody's great.
Right.
It's teamwork.
Absolutely. It was a movement, and it was a leader-led movement. There were incredible leaders he surrounded himself with, incredible women he surrounded himself with as well. That's one of the things I was so happy that Ava accentuated in the script when she came along and rewrote it, the fact that you see Diane Nash, you see Amelia Boynton, you see Annie Lee Cooper in this film. You see Coretta, in a very real, robust way. She was the one who inspired Dr. King towards civil rights. She was the one who had grown up in Marion, Alabama, and like I say, inspired him in this way. So, I think it speaks to his leadership that he surrounded himself with leaders and yet was able to distill their ideas, articulate them, and bring about change as the leader.
How do you, as an actor, get through some of these scenes and not break down and cry or get emotional, or what's your secret?
You don't. You cry. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of emotion on the set, but there was a lot of joy as well, not least because we were getting to tell this story. Everyone came on board with the right spirit of service and love, but it was deeply emotional. You can't reenact those marches on the bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge, underneath the name of a man who was the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, with people who were on that march. There were people now in their 60s and 70s who had been part of it. So that's going to affect you. And thankfully, I think a lot of the love, a lot of that energy that was going on the set transmits to the screen.
Where do you think he got his chutzpah from? I was talking to Tom Wilkinson, he's like, he went up against a president and said, dude, I'm doing this no matter what. Yeah. Wow.
This is a man who was called, he was 26 when he headed up the Montgomery bus boycott. 26. what was I doing at 26? You know, I think he had a call of God to do this. He knew it. And in his moments of doubt, in his moments when he wanted to turn around, his faith is what kept him going. And I think every time there was another victory, every time more people rallied to the call of his voice, his feeling of responsibility grew, and his feeling of courage grew. And that's what enabled him to go up against, you know, world leaders and advocate for people who didn't have a voice.
You know, this movie, sadly, is so relevant today, you know, I mean, when we see what's going on. And so glad that it's getting the attention it's getting. Congratulations on your Golden Globe nomination.
Thank you.
Ava, and I mean, this film is going to be huge, with more awards are going to be coming your way, mark my words.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, what's most important is that young people have to see this movie. It's got to be the most important thing I think you've ever done as an actor.
Easily. Maybe the most important thing I ever do, and I'm okay with that, because I think it's really timely. I think there's something divine about it. I was with Dr. King's youngest daughter just over the weekend, and she said these are the most robust protests she has seen since the Vietnam War. And what I'm encouraged by is that young people are engaging in this now, and it's humanity coming together, not just black people. But now I think the Eric Garner situation really just made people go, okay, this is indisputable. This is just wrong. And you know what I hope Selma shows is that voting is crucial. We cannot expect change when we have been given that power, when that power has been bought in blood and we don't use it. And you know, the issue of the day in Selma was voting rights. Today it's police reform. Who's going to police the police? You know, it took federal intervention with the voting. I think it's going to take the same thing with the police brutality situation. And you know, let's hope that if anything, the film inspires people to keep on protesting.
Yeah, well, you know, like I say, it's just an outstanding film, and your performance is just beyond, honestly. And make more films with Ava, because you guys got it going right, huh?
Oh yeah, we fully intend to. We fully intend to. Don't you worry about that.
All right, congratulations to you, and
Thank you.
we'll be seeing you at the award shows next year for sure, my friend. Thank you so much.